What's up, guys? Got another new video for you. This is Tuned In Sports here. My name's Bryson.
I'm Don.
And we've got the Week 13, I think it is, college football review. Who knows what week we're on anymore.
It's just week, whatever.
Some weeks are week 2, and for some schools, and others it's week 9. It's crazy. But, you know, we'll go ahead and get into this week's action, starting with the FSU Seminoles, who have really been looking dominant these last couple of weeks. It's almost like they're not on the field or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best game plan that I've actually seen them utilize this year. I mean, they actually get the team to travel all the way down to the stadium, and then right before kickoff, or within a few hours, they call it, "Oh, we got COVID." I mean, it's really genius on their part. I mean, the strategy is impeccable.
Yeah, well done. I mean, just an incredible job.
Belichick-esque. I mean, that's awesome.
So on a more serious note, let's get into this Michigan game.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Well, let's just say with the positives. They started McNamara. Unfortunately, pretty early, he got roughed up and wasn't the same the rest of the game.
I mean, when you're walking off the field this way after every possession and taking off your chin strap with your other arm, I think there's a problem.
Probably.
But roll him back out there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because Milton's so bad, it's better than him.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I almost feel like on the coaching staff, somebody maybe needed to be held accountable for allowing that guy to go out there.
Yeah.
I understand trying to win, but Jesus.
Well, and it also shows you the toughness of the kid.
Yeah.
Because he's playing out there with, I would think, and I'm not a doctor, and haven't seen any of the reports, but it would look like to me it would be an AC joint, that I've seen so far this year with, like, Drew Lock and some of the other players, that AC joint on the Broncos, and it looked like the same type of thing where something's up into that shoulder area, and they needed to try to fix it. But that would be my instant guess on it. But hell of a gritty performance to even be able to throw the ball at all in this game.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it was really gritty performance. But again, I mean, unfortunately, toughness doesn't win games, and that's what happened here. I mean, like we said, Milton, he's shown you what he can do, but he may have been a better option at some point. I mean,
even watching the game with it, he didn't even throw the ball.
Every
time I looked at him, he's either handing it off or running it himself. So there was no threat of the pass.
No,
none at all.
Nope.
So at least McNamara with his one arm out there could
hurl it around,
throw it around sometimes.
Yeah.
With it, but again, his accuracy and everything was off. Because again, when you're hurt like that, it's difficult.
I mean, to his credit, there was only one turnover, and it was actually a fumble, so he didn't throw a pick.
Yeah, and that was near the end of the game where the guy came from behind and then they pretty much stripped him of it. So,
but I mean, I feel like it was kind of a disappointing performance for Michigan. But again, I feel like there wasn't much that they could do about it. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say they got outclassed out there. I don't think Penn State really played that well either, but unfortunately.
Well, again, it's the same thing, though. I mean, again, I know he's only a sophomore, and maybe it was just field awareness, but even when you're down to the goal line or whatever with it, and you're in that situation, just slide and don't even take the hit. Just take it. I know you wanted to try to get into the end zone or try to get as much yard as you can, but bad things happen, which is what it was. I mean, I think like 3 guys tackled him, and then one guy pretty much put all the weight on him onto his shoulder as they fell to the ground. So it was just ugly with it. And then of course that pretty much changes the whole perspective of the game, because then he can't throw it as far or as accurate as he has been in the last couple of games when he got a chance. So it was just a bad situation. And again, you're going back to Milton, which is a lost cause.
And I mean, even really before he got hurt, it was a lot of the same things where you had a lot of 3rd and longs, and they converted 4 out of, I think, 12 or 13. And I mean, you just can't have that. But the reason they had it was because it was never 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3. It was always 3rd and 10, and plus so many penalties at one point. I mean, it was just like every time I looked up, an offensive lineman was jumping off sides and false starts and stuff. And I mean, it just like good Lord, I know that the quarterback had some injuries, but some of these things, it doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah,
when
you're
you're
gonna
doing
shoot
stuff like
yourself.
that, you're going to have a hard time. I mean, Jesus. It was just really, really bad, and I feel bad for everybody involved, really.
Yeah, and then by the end of the game, the talking point is Jim going to go? So, that's the other thing, because they were talking about the same thing on the coach on the other side for Penn State, because again, they're like, well, he's too far into his contract to get a buyout to fire him, but I don't think you can fire the Penn State guy.
No.
I think that would be an instant knee-jerk reaction. He's done a tremendous job to get that program back from the shower scandal with Sandusky and Paterno and all the crap that's happened with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think enough credit is given to that, because seriously, there's been some other schools that literally had their thing happen years ago, and they still have not been able to get back because they just have that mark next to them. At this point, I mean, you almost forgot about it.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about it because he's done such a great job of making it a destination again. Great job. I mean, seriously, if they were to fire him, that would be a huge mistake, and I think they'd find out very quickly that it was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
So
and then, like I said, that's the reason they say with Jim, because he only has 1 year left. And then again, for recruiting purposes, if he's going to be gone, it's hard to sell the school to say like, oh, hey, this guy's not going to be here, but why don't you come to Michigan? Where if they do keep him, then they're going to have to extend his contract. And at that point, then that way you can actually have kids stay there. But again, I think, again, it's going to be rough waters. It's not looking good, because if Jim does go, then I think you're going to see a lot of kids bail.
I do,
because that was the reason why they were there, is because of Jim, and that's the reason McNamara was there, because of Harbaugh. That's the reason he left Notre Dame, because he wanted to go over there. So, maybe, who knows? He might come back home.
Hey, Nevada, wouldn't that be something?
Nevada could always use a quarterback, right?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Holy.
But we'll see. Again, like there's so many things with it, but that's the kind of process that you're looking at. That I think if Jim goes, I think there's going to be a mass exodus of kids transferring, because that's the reason why they went there is to play under Jim. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we've talked about on multiple reviews / previews now about just the mess that could really be going on if he gets out of there. And unfortunately, I don't see it going down any other way. I mean, I don't see, if people were upset before, I don't see how they're looking at this season and finding any positives. Yeah. I mean, you've lost to teams you haven't lost to in years. You haven't even been in games with teams that you shouldn't even ever be losing to. And then you lost the interstate rivalry game when they're horrible. Yeah. And it just, you haven't even played Ohio State yet, and you've been wiped off the map by a majority of your competition. Yeah. So I don't see any way he's keeping his job. Again, like I said in the last video, is that what it should be? Maybe not, but that's what this is now. That's what college football is. If you don't, people have their expectation of what you should do, and if you don't reach it, it doesn't matter if you've had success or what they brought it up from 3, 4, 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. No, like I said, and I think, to me, if you had all the money in the world or whatever you would want Jim to stay there. Yeah. But it's just going to be tough sledding. And again, he's won games. He's had winning seasons. He won bowl games. He just hasn't had the national championship or beat Ohio State. And those are the things that Michigan wants. And I think, the national title could be a little bit overshot. But, when you watch the usual teams that are in it, I don't think Michigan's anywhere close to Alabama or Clemson. No. That's usually the teams that are in there. In Ohio State. Yeah. Which they lose
and
to.
It shows.
And it's like, it's not even, it's checkers playing chess when it's out there. And so to have it come this way, like I said, it's sad. It's sad to see, but again, this is just what the lay of the land of college football is now. Yeah. There's not that many powerhouse teams, and then if you find a good one, hopefully you can hold them until something else happens to to build that tradition. But
Yep.
it was hard before. Now it's even tougher.
Yeah, and I also really think that, I mean, guys are making so much money at the next level now that I feel like it's more and more rare that you see somebody stay the full amount of years in college. They're just like, shoot, the moment they're eligible, they're out.
Yeah.
And so you don't have continuity in your teams because you get an all-star receiver, an all-star quarterback or something, and he's like, shoot, why am I, sticking around here to potentially get injured and ruin my stock? I'm heading to the next level while the iron's hot. And if you're not in Alabama, you're not a Clemson, you're not a, Ohio State, the next guy up is not what the last guy was. Mm-hmm. It's not that at all. And that, I mean, really, I think that has more to do with Penn State this year than anything. I just think the guy that was there before did a really good job, and the guy that's there now is not.
Yeah.
As far as a quarterback, I'm
yeah.
to.
Yeah. No. Like I said, but the thing with it, and I know everybody likes to go like the NFL, but if you can find a pretty sweet gig in NCAA, it's not a bad gig because you're getting paid a lot of money, and what a great atmosphere to be in, to play in, once things go back to normal, if they ever do, whatever it is going to be. But I mean, the college atmosphere is the best.
Incredible.
Is the best type of thing you can do. And you know what? Sometimes you sit there and go, well, maybe I shouldn't have, went for the money with the NFL, but it's hard to pass up if it is there. Mm-hmm. But again, you're dealing with real prima donnas. I just looked at the, up the street or down the street, wherever the street is that goes to Detroit from Ann Arbor. They fired the coach and the GM today. And I couldn't believe all the ex-players were just like, ho, seeing the shoes on the other foot. Like Slay and all these guys were just throwing Patricia under the bus. So, I mean, to sit here to go, oh, you're talking about, but I mean, you're dealing with, prima donnas up in the NFL. And if anything goes wrong, they're just going to be like, oh, I quit. I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
I can go somewhere else and they'll pay me.
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It just happens all the time with it. Where at least the college kids, at least they want to try to learn and do the best they can. With what they've got for the most part. I mean, you're going to run into the prima donnas down there too. Yeah. Just because of the way it is, but for the most part, the kids will try. So. Yeah. But like I said, it's just the mess in Michigan right now, and it's probably going to be worse than good once this dust settles.
Yeah. It's going to be. COVID is only going to be the first of many nightmares coming to Michigan, I think. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game. Obviously, the usual Alabama week. Don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. They perform like they do every week. Their offense has been pretty much unstoppable this year. Jalen Waddle, who, I mean, haven't missed a beat since he's left. NFL caliber running backs. NFL caliber receivers, NFL caliber offensive line, and defense has been playing better over the last handful of weeks too. So great job. And Bo Nix, he's, again, like I said in the preview, they were talking about him like he was supposed to be some hot stuff because last year he showed a lot of promise, and they're like, oh, this is going to be the year of the Bo Nix, and everybody get ready for it. They're going to a championship, and he's done probably worse, I would say, than he did last year. You combine all those things and it equals a clobbering on top of you're on the road. And that's exactly what happened. And then, again, with Sarkisian in there, he's got experience coaching big organizations in big games. So he just like, oh, what's that? Just keep doing what we're doing? Okay. And I mean, I really think in a lot of ways, I wouldn't honestly be surprised now that they got Sarkisian in there. I wouldn't honestly be surprised to see Nick step down before too long and Sarkisian just take it over and be the coach moving forward. I mean, honestly, I think that would be a great move for him because this guy's worked under him for a while now, and he's a good coach in his own right. So, I mean, obviously, the off-the-field stuff that he went through at the one school, there's that, but, I mean, haven't heard about any of that stuff since. So, hey, sometimes all people need is a second chance, and he's taken full advantage of it. Yeah. And, I mean, if not, I think other schools will be calling after this season saying, hey, what do you want to come coach here? Mm-hmm. But I mean, like I said, I think if I was Saban and I'm thinking about stepping down soon, I think if you care about leaving the organization in a good spot, you say, hey, I got somebody right below me that's more than capable of taking this thing over. Mm-hmm. And I think this now would be as good a time as any. Or just tell them, hey, I'm stepping down in 3 years. Stay here and you can have the team. Mm-hmm. And every year I'll let you control a little bit more and more. And then by the 3rd year, it'll basically be your team and I'll just be there and then it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much has his meal ticket, whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this is going to be the, kind of like the Bobby Bowden, Jimbo Fisher thing where, it could have been Lane Kiffin if he wanted to stay for all these years. So now it'd be Sarkisian, which might not be a bad thing for him. Again, talking about the same thing with the NFL, that he went to the NFL and I think he was OC for Falcons or something.
Yeah.
And it was just like, depends on if he wants that or not. Mm-hmm. So again, it just, that's the other thing too. Does, Sarkisian want to do the Kiffin thing where it's like, hey, I can go to another program and blaze my own trail with it. Mm-hmm. So again, it all depends what's going to happen. But as we sit here today, it's another stamp rubber mark on it where it's exactly the same blueprint week after week. And Auburn did everything wrong that they could.
Yeah.
Missing wide open receivers and it's like
so bad.
Get into the game and close and then just totally miss it. It's typical.
That was so bad.
It's just typical things that occurs with it, and we saw the result with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it. It was just you shoot yourself in the foot so many times. And you can't fart around with Alabama, and you're going to be toast.
Yeah, and I really think it's another situation too. Sometimes where it's like, sometimes the mental aspect of it too is some of these teams have you beat before you step on the field. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, we're going against the team here. Mm-hmm. We can't screw up, and you just got more and more pressure on everything you do. I mean, there was one ball that Bo Nix threw to number 18, a long streaker by himself. Nobody close to him. I mean, they were catching him because he had to slow down to grab the ball. But apart from that, he was by himself, completely dropped it. And, I mean, again, big momentum shifter. That could have gotten him still in the game. Yep. Touchdown. All of a sudden, who knows? But he dropped it. Next play, 3 and out. See ya.
Yep.
Get the defense back out there. So, anyway, enough about that game. Let's move on to the next one. Colorado Buffs, 3-0.
Yeah.
Not the opponent that they were expecting, but they won.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a pretty game, but it's kind of expected if you scheduled it on Thursday night as you're eating your turkey or finishing up your turkey in the tryptophan zone, and then somebody calls you up like, "Hey, we need USC's under quarantine, so we need a game now." And kudos to SDSU for stepping up and actually taking the trip to Boulder to play. I thought they were in trouble when they first started the game because that Baker kid was starting for them, who got benched for, I think it's Johnson, number 7.
Brookshire?
No, it was Johnson, I think, the kid that played last week against Nevada. Oh. But I guess his knee or whatever, he got hurt. And so they had to start Baker, and then they actually brought in the third-string quarterback, and he's very similar to 7, but not as good of a passer. So he had a really good run option available to him. But the nice thing, and the thing, again, one of those teams that I love is they have a hell of a defense. Mm-hmm. And this shows you, just like anything else, defense will travel. It doesn't matter where you put it. If it's on 2 days notice, guess what? I need to go hit somebody, and everybody needs to go tackle the ball. And that's exactly what San Diego State did today. There was a chance that CU had to squash them, and they totally just flubbed it up. And then that gave them a chance. And then next thing you know, San Diego State has 10 points. It was a pick 6 that he threw.
Wow. So
he threw it right across over late and onto the sideline, and see you later. That was a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And then another like 3 and out, and then they got a field goal out of it. And then next thing you know, it was 14-10 at half. And then, that's what happened. But again, CU was able to hold on and be able to squeak out a victory, so it keeps them undefeated.
Yep, and another game where they didn't give up any points in the second half. I think that's a couple of them this season.
Yeah.
Great job by Colorado. They did, like he said, they did have that turnover, but it didn't cost them too much because much like the defense of San Diego State, Colorado held them to 10 points, did a great job, and it was a adjustment on both sides because, again, like we said, they were supposed to play USC.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, when we started the preview, I didn't realize they weren't playing USC. Yeah. I was like, wait, what? They're playing San Diego State? Oh, my bad. I feel like an idiot. But anyway, yeah, so it was an adjustment on both sides, short notice, like not really much tape to watch, just, suit up and head on out there, see what you can do. And, great job to Colorado, and I think in those situations with that, I think I'd always go with probably the school that probably recruits better, and I would say CU would probably have better athletes than San Diego State. So in that scenario, I'm not really at all surprised to see Colorado win this game. If it had been like a full week of preparation, I think it probably would have been better on both sides.
Yeah.
But
the game would have been not as messy. And I'm surprised that Colorado didn't run the ball as much because they definitely had the superior weight advantage on the front line because they had some big dudes up there. But Broussard still had over his 100 yards rushing, so I think it's first player in several years, which they had a ton of great running backs, but we're talking probably, I think it was 1950s, I think it was, that a running back started the first 3 games with over 100 yards in them. So good job by the Buffs, and we'll see what's going, and that keeps them in the running for the Pac-12 South title, because since SC's, who knows if they're gonna have enough games or XYZ. It's going to happen. So I'm sure, as usual, probably come down to the game against Utah, as usual. As far as where CU season's going to finally end up. But we'll see when that game occurs in a few weeks.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Honestly, even if you lose to Utah or whatever and you don't end up winning, seriously, the very first week of the college thing, he was like, I have no idea what to expect for this season, and he thought it was going to be rough. I thought so too. And the fact that they're doing what they're doing is a win, even if they don't win the conference or anything. Even if they don't win another game in some respects. I think this season was a win because they came out and they're like, shoot, we're doing the best that we can, and that's all you can really ask. The situation that they were handed at the beginning of the season, you wouldn't know it. Let's just put it that way. You wouldn't know it. So great job to Colorado. Unfortunately, let's get into a not so great job here. It is now, at the time of this recording, it just went final. That game, for the Nevada game, it started because it was in Hawaii at 8 o'clock, and we were like, shoot, it's really late here. And so we were like, we'll just go ahead and start. At the time of this recording, it just went final. Nevada lost 24-21 to Hawaii. Rainbow Warriors.
Good Stuff job. On the island.
Yeah.
I know in the preview I said it's the island, so anything happens and we have a tough time there. So streak continues. Again, going to a place that again, Hawaii is a good team. They're always game. But this should be something that Nevada should take care of. And I don't know, again, if it's the same thing where they're chasing the bikinis on the beach or whoever's not in quarantine around there. I don't know what's going on with it. So again, just have a big problem of beating this team on the island. And it just continues. Even with Alt and now even with Norvell, they have no answer for this team. And again, kudos to Hawaii. Again, this is another moment of Nevada has a chance to really assert themselves in the conference, and and actually in the national eye, right? Because if they go 6-0, that's pretty darn good. There's not too many teams on the West Coast or anywhere in the country that's got that record. But again, just typical shoot ourselves in the foot and fly home on the nice flight home with an L.
Yeah. This is just so flippin' frustrating for multiple reasons, especially like he said, they really would be viewed in the national eye. It's like, hey, okay, they're doing things, especially when you consider that they just came off a game on CBS being called by Gary Danielson and whatever the other guy's name is. They literally just came off that game. So people are like, oh, wow, Nevada, okay. San Diego State, I mean, I feel like that's a team that a lot of people have probably heard of and are like, oh, yeah, they got some nice players and they're generally tough. But Nevada, I think there's a lot of unknowns with Nevada. I mean, they don't generally play tougher schools, and when they do, it's usually a blowout, and they always lose to Boise, so I don't feel like they really get that kind of respect as like, oh, this is like a Boise-type school where if we don't watch out, we could easily lose, because they always lose to Boise, so they're like, okay, they're just another school. And this, I mean, coming off last week's game and a great performance, this was a opportunity to say, you know what, we're not just the same Nevada, we're meant to be taken seriously now. We should be taken seriously now, and we've got a team. We're a solid attraction to come play, and we've got good basketball, stuff like that, and this was just a great opportunity for them. And once again, they lost to Hawaii on the island, and it's frustrating because, first of all, I mean, if your team, I get that the road and all that other stuff is difficult and the beaches and all that stuff, but, we cream them at home most of the time. It's not even a game, but then we go over to the island and it's just like, oh boy, what's going to happen this year? And, I mean, if you want to be taken seriously and you want to be looked at as one of those schools that should be respected and stuff like that, like he said, you can't have this. You can't be losing to the Rainbow Warriors. I don't care where the game is being played. They could play it in the middle of the ocean on a cruise for all I care, and I'd be pissed off that they lost. I mean, it's just pathetic. And truthfully, I mean, it just makes me think that all the hype and all the great things I've been saying about them are just so that they can turn around and be the exact same team that they have been for however many years, because a really good team would not be doing this. We would not be losing to Hawaii. Boise State does not lose to Hawaii. And so it just like, boom, right there. Have fun. Stick your hand on an iron and just hold it there and expect it to get better.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and make this tougher than what it is. Again, it's just everything was laid out in front of them.
Yeah.
To pretty much finish the season undefeated. But again, like I said, that's counting games now as you go down the road. But again, it's just one step, taking the next step in that direction towards it, because you do have a pretty favorable schedule. Because I think it's Fresno and San Jose State, which those two teams who know they're quarantine central, being from California, so they have issues. So who knows that's going to with it. So again, this could be just like a nail in the coffin for the team, because who knows, because if they can't play Fresno State or San Jose State, because San Jose State has a complete lockdown for that area, the Bay Area, for could be 3 weeks or whatever. So what does Nevada do? Do they call up BYU and go, hey, we need a game? Well, now you're going to play one of the should be a top 10 school in the country, and you're probably going to get throttled with it. So it could have been, this could be a huge domino effect for them in this whole season. So, like I said, an unfortunate misstep with this one. Again, now it just goes to the point, it's like, well, what the hell did Norvell do this week? Did he just send press clippings to everybody like, oh, you guys are great, you guys did this?
Yeah.
We don't need to do anything. I don't know. You should have the team prepared, and especially with the past history with this school at Hawaii, you expect this. That would be the first thing to go, gentlemen. you will get your ass kicked if you do not play well.
Yeah.
This is not something that you will just go, oh, I'll just show up and we'll win. No, you will be in a fight, especially on the island, every time. It doesn't matter who it is. I mean, I've seen big schools get their tail handed to them on the island.
USC almost lost.
I think Ohio State got their tail handed to them one time before Urban Meyer. But I think OSU came there and they went, see ya. Take the L back to Ohio. You know, and it's just a weird place to play, and you know, I don't know that goes on there, but again, you should have this team prepared. And again, you made a huge mistake against San Diego State. You were able to hold on to it and pull that out, so it shouldn't have been warm fuzzies that were really great. You know, hey, we made a stupid mistake to turn the ball over in the last several minutes of the game. We were fortunately to hold the team out of the end zone and play just good enough to take that W. But then, like you said, to turn this around and go, what the hell? I mean, what happened during Thanksgiving break? You know what I mean? Did you guys just, hang around and just, play chess?
Exactly.
That's on there and not even come up with a game plan.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a tight game. It was, I think, 10-7 at half. So again, same thing, make more adjustments, So they did. I mean, they scored 2 more touchdowns, but they gave up 14 more points. So I don't know what to say. Again, it's really disappointing to end tonight like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's another one of those things where you just sit here and you're like, wow, is this going to be the year? Nope. Here we go again with the same bull crap. And, I mean, in some respects, I feel like they are, I mean, like he said, the whole COVID situation could end up really screwing them. But if they just end up, regularly, if they were to take care of those 2 teams, we have the head-to-head over San Diego State, who's the other team in the top. I mean, Hawaii, I think, is 2-3. So, our tiebreaker with them doesn't matter because even if we lost out, that would be the only way we'd even be carrying, and by that time I think San Diego State would have won the thing anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like it's not the end. We could still end up going to the championship game, but again,
you have a chance to, now you're bringing Boise back into the picture.
Yeah.
Which is not what you want to do.
No.
Because they're the type of team, again, this is what Nevada should have been, is what Boise is. They'll smell blood in the water. And you know what happens when good schools smell blood in the water? It's not going to be a good day for you.
Yeah, it leaves us on this show asking what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Going, what? Bartender, another one. That's what it leads to.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just a rotten way to freaking end the night. I mean, because I was like, man, I was really feeling this team. I really thought this was the year because, unlike most seasons, it's if the quarterback has an off game, that doesn't necessarily mean the end.
No. Because
the defense has been stepping up, but it just...
Hey, got to the Magic 24. Hey, guess who won? Right? It's the 24.
Yep, that's exactly right. And, I guess we'll see what happens next week if they end up playing or if they reschedule with somebody else. Boy, depending on who we play, that could be rough.
Hey, might get the Buffaloes.
That would be interesting.
You know what I mean? Because, again, who knows what the schedule with that, as well, Yeah. It seems like it's up in the air. Don't get Oregon State, I'll tell you that. Or their officials.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Oregon that's with it, but don't schedule one of those teams. But we'll see what happens. I mean, like you said, this is a huge step backwards, though. Again, they'll be up near the top, but I don't know how it plays out now with tiebreakers and stuff like this. So. Yeah. I mean, they could still be first, second, or third, depending on whatever happens after all the mayhem from this weekend, and then we'll see what happens. But again, when you have the 0 in the right hand column, that makes it pretty stout for you not to be in the championship title talk. For the conference. But we'll see what it is now. Make it interesting.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they couldn't just do what we thought they could have. We got to have play this game again. And it's really unfortunate. And, last thing I'll say is, like, I mean, I can understand a team like a USC or something they're not playing these guys week to week or year to year. It's like, oh, yeah, we happen to have them on the schedule this year. Let's go down there. And they're like, oh, this is a no-name, well, not a no-name school, but, you know, a school we shouldn't ever be in a game with, and we can just take it easy. And then before you know it, holy crap, we're in a game here. I can understand that. Nevada, though, I mean, we play them every year. So it's like I guess the mirage of it should be over. It's like, yeah, we have to play Hawaii, and if we aren't careful, like he said, we're going to walk out of here with an L.
Yep.
And we've done it time and time again. So how do you not have the guys prepared?
Yeah.
This isn't news.
Yeah.
This has happened.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you guys doing? Come on, man. I mean, like I said, I can understand for a team that never plays there, and it's just like, holy crap, we're in Hawaii, yahoo!
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, oh yeah, we're playing Hawaii again. We played them last year.
It's a conference component.
Yeah, it's a conference opponent. You should know what it is.
You know exactly what the visitor locker room looks like. You know exactly what the field is. You know exactly what most likely the temperature of the game's going to be.
You know exactly what to expect.
You know exactly where to stay. You know exactly where to eat. You know you should have a damn schedule that you stick to, that you would know that this is just like every other road game.
Yeah, but somehow we
sleepwalk. They sleepwalk right into it every time.
Every time it's like, oh well, we should just breeze through this team, and then we end up being the one getting breezed through.
Yeah,
breeze through.
Yeah, and I don't, hey, I don't know if it's the whole thing, like, hey, maybe we need to, stay up later during the week, that way to adjust the 3-hour time difference or whatever. That's
no kidding.
I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why they're like, oh man, it's, but it's still only it's only 8 o'clock kickoff where we're at. You know what I mean? And it's only like 5 o'clock there. 5 or 6 o'clock, I think it's 5 or 4.
Yeah, 5.
I think it's almost 5 there.
Yes.
So again, it's just like, it shouldn't make any difference. It's all, it's half an hour later than normal your 7:30 games that you play. So I don't know. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's on it, that come out and just consistently lay eggs at Honolulu.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, good teams don't do this kind of stuff.
No.
The people that want to be taken seriously, the Alabamas, and I'm not saying Nevada and Alabama are on the same pedestal, but I'm just saying even Boise for that matter, the teams that are well respected that maybe aren't quite there yet, they don't do stuff like this. They don't come out here and you think, holy crap, what happened? Yeah. I mean, if they're struggling, then they're struggling, but if they're not struggling, they don't do this. Yeah. And even when they are struggling, they just...
Oh no, even Boise last week, 40-32, they beat Hawaii in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It was 8 points, but guess what? Still a win.
Still a win, and it wasn't the offense. Yeah. They put up points. Yeah. Our offense put up 20, 21.
21.
I mean, Jesus. It's just, and I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. It's puzzling that every single year it's the same story. I mean, if we don't play them in Nevada, we have to sweat it. Mm-hmm. But if we play them in Nevada, it's a bye week. Mm-hmm. You're playing the same team, guys. Yep. You're literally playing the same team. So frustrating, sick of it, and can't wait to see who they play next week, or if they even do play. And if they don't play, we'll see what this means. Yeah. We'll see. But, well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Lots of kind of disappointing things to talk about on this show, but some good ones as well. So take the good with the bad, I guess. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. I'm Bryson.
I'm Don.
See you guys in the next video.